Good afternoon, Tottenham faithful. Spurs edge past Wolves 1-0, and you're with your host, Deji Spurs, today for today's kind of reaction. I have to say, uh, it's not easy being a Tottenham Hotspur fan. It's not easy one bit. I don't know what's happened to our team. We started off the season very well, with the kind of 4-1 with Southampton, and then you're rubbing your hands saying, yes, Spurs, let's do it. Let's smash, let's kick on. Depending on what lens you're looking at the game against Chelsea, we managed to kind of fight, really. Dogged performance from the boys. We didn't play well. They managed to get it over the line. But I have to say, the hangover from the game against Chelsea was with us today. But luckily, Kane was there to get a beautiful header, knock it straight in. And I'm really and truly, I think, if truth be told, we kind of limped through and managed to get the 3 points. Now, I will say this. Under normal circumstances, we as Spurs fans, we should be happy. If someone told me at the beginning of the season that after three games, we would have 7 points, I would have chewed both your hands off. And here we are today, Spurs faithful. We've managed to get 7 points from our first 3 games. But I have to say, though, it was a tough watch. And, feel free, please, make sure you like and subscribe on the channel. I just want to start with our right wing back situation. I'm not one to be picking on. I don't play Premier League football anymore. But I just don't think we can be taken seriously as a team with Emerson Royale at right wing back, and dare I say it, Doherty as well. I just feel like whatever Conte needs to do, we need to see Jed Spence, especially in a game like this where it just wasn't working for Emerson Royale for whatever reason. Let's just change it up and get a Spencey in. Let's see what Spencey can do on that right-hand side. I'm sure it can't be that bad. I mean, this guy played so well for Nottingham Forest last season. They were gutted to see him go. So he can't be that off form that he can't get into the starting lineup or at least get a cameo on for the lads. I think today, again, it's another game where Son struggled, just couldn't really get into the game. Kulusevski struggled. And to be honest, I think at times during the game, I just felt that our football was very, very, very predictable. It just looked pretty obvious in terms of what we wanted to do, and Wolves seemed to have answers for everything that we were doing out on the pitch today. And so I think there's a lot of food for thought for us to be taken. I think even myself, I might have to just come down a peg from a couple of pegs that I was on, a couple of weeks back, and just kind of looking at some of the stats from the game, So in terms of ball possession, it was 50-50. We had 4 shots on target. That includes the goal that Kane scored. Wolves had 3. We had 11 shots overall. Wolves had 20 shots. And then in terms of touches, we had about 658 touches to Wolves 647. I think if football was a fair game, I don't think anyone could begrudge Bruno Lage for thinking that his team should have probably walked away with a point today. I thought Wolves played well. I think they kind of doubled up on us and in various areas on the pitch, and really and truly, we just didn't have the answers. The only positive that I can say again is that maybe Tottenham are able to kind of get this over the line in a way that we're not playing well, but even though we're not playing well, we're still getting the points, really and truly. But I thought it was kind of like we limped through today. We limped through. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't a pretty watch. But you know what? I definitely take the 3 points. Thank goodness for Kane being on the pitch, doing his best to try and string passes along. Højbjerg there in the midfield, winning tackles, really trying to get it in. But hey, let's put some respect on his name. Ivan Perisic. You know, a lot of people were questioning me in the other chat rooms. Can Perisic do it? He's 33 years old. He's never played in the Prem. Can he produce the goods? Dare I say it, mate? 2 games, 2 assists in his 2 assists in his last 2 games. The brilliant assist for the goal for Kane, and then he's up again. He's the one who's whipped the ball in for Kane to head home today to bring home the 3 points. So Perisic, you know, everybody was calling out for Perisic to be in the starting lineup. It was good to see that Perisic started. The other thing I have to say is that let's put some respect on Sanchez's name. I know that earlier this week, when we got the message that Ramiro was injured, all of our hearts just sunk, like, bloody hell, what are we going to do? But actually, in the last 4 games now that Sanchez has started for Spurs, we haven't actually conceded a goal. So that's actually a positive. I thought Sanchez had a game. He did okay. I think we could have. It would have been nice to see maybe Longlet. There was times where we were looking like we were just lacking someone at the back, or someone who could just be calm on the ball and spread the play around, you know, just to kind of have that kind of composure. It did feel a little bit gun-ho at times, and we were crying out maybe for Longlet to come in a lot sooner. But hey, you know, Conte knows what he's doing. He's picked a squad. He's picked a winning squad. But I won't lie, ladies and gents, it was definitely a tough watch. Edging past Wolves is an understatement, to say the least. It was definitely a difficult game to watch, and you could tell anyway with the struggling with the bookings as well. Hotspur getting booked, Kane also picking up a yellow card in the game, and I just think that sometimes it would have been nice to see some subs made a lot sooner. Richarlison, I would have loved to have seen him on the pitch sooner. And then also Bissouma, do you know what I mean? I think if they had come in a lot sooner, maybe that would have done something. But, you know, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, Spurs faithful. I guess what we should do is we should definitely be happy with the result today and getting it over the line. But definitely, like I've said before, it was definitely a difficult watch. And there just wasn't many chances. We can't really talk about, again, Son's looking off form. And for me, I'm just thinking in our next game that maybe if, you know, we've had 3 games now and Son doesn't quite look like he's at the races, is this a moment where you say, you know what, Son, have a break, have a Kit Kat almost, and we just start off with Richarlison? You know, I'm not having a go at Kane. I think Son, sorry. I think Son is a class act. He's a big game player. But that's the reason why we brought in Richarlison. We brought in Richarlison for moments like this. And when we're seeing these moments, you know, can we make those substitutions early? Can we make those changes and maybe start Richarlison in our next game? I think now he deserves that. He deserves that shout. And so for me, you know, it was you know, but at the same time, you know, everyone knows what I've been saying. I've been saying that Spurs, for us to be challenging near the top, we are going to go through a period of time where we're not going to be playing great football. And the key is, can you, during when the going gets tough, can you pick up points? And dare I say it, the last 2 games, Chelsea and Wolves, we've managed to take 4 points. Last season, we draw this game or we lose. And let's be real, I was having a conversation earlier in the week, and one of the things that I was saying is that Wolves is one of our bogey teams. It's always a tight game. Whether we go to Molineux, whether it's at the Tottenham Stadium, the games are always tight. So I wasn't surprised that it was a tight game. I guess for me, and what I'm seeing from some of the comments on Twitter and in some of the group chats that I'm in, is that it's just hasn't been as convincing as we would have liked. Yeah, and I just want to say, yeah, big up to Tenno Football. Thank you for bigging it up. You know, Spurs, we go marching on. But yeah, you know, I was in some chats this week, and the kind of comments were, you know, Spurs were really unconvincing, this and that. And again, I think today, I think it would be harsh to say that I mean, we struggled. I'm not going to lie. We did struggle against Wolves today. But at the same time, I think that the fact that the boys are showing character and grinding out the result the way that they've done, I think we just have to put some respect on the boys' name and Conte's name. I just wanted to come on and to say, look, to the Spurs faithful, look, I am relieved. I am relieved that we've managed to get 3 points today. For me, it's a good result. Don't be too disheartened by the way that we performed. Just be seeing it as, look, if we can do this, not performing well, then when it starts to click, how much better would the game be, you know? And at the end of the day, so far, I think it's pretty impressive. We've only conceded 3 goals so far this season. We've scored 6 goals, I think it is 6 or 7 goals. So it's not too bad. It's really, really not too bad, Tottenham faithful. But, you know, for me, I think there's a shout. I personally, next game, I would like to see Bissouma start. I know he kind of struggled when he came on today, but I think he kind of needs to. I think Bissouma is the type of player that he gets his rhythm when he starts the game. I think he's struggling, and I saw it in the Chelsea game, and I've seen it again today. He struggles to come on and have an impact, the sort of impact that we want. You know, if you remember the game last season when he was playing for Brighton, how he was pretty much controlling that midfield. I think a decision needs to be made with Conte, with Bissouma. I think he has to start. I think Perisic has proved that he's a class act. Perisic has to start, even if it's just the fact that his deliveries into the box, he's just putting these balls on the money, on a sixpence. And I think that's something we've been missing over the years. I think there's a shout even for Perisic to even play as right back, because for me at the moment, I still would prefer Sessegnon left and maybe Perisic right wing back, because Emerson, he no make it. He is just not the guy on the right. He's killing us softly. And you can see that the communication, the chemistry with Kulusevski just isn't there. And Cooley as well. Do you know what I mean? I think he kind of struggled. But for sure, Tenno saying rest on next game. Start Richie, start Bissouma. Look, I totally agree. What is the point in buying players, saying that we need... I mean, I know I can kind of see what Conte's trying to do. So Conte doesn't want to rush the new guys into the team. He doesn't want to rush Richarlison, doesn't want to rush Bissouma, because he's got a certain way that he wants to play, a certain way in terms of how we do the low block and then how we press with the counter-attack. And maybe Conte's just thinking that the boys haven't quite got it yet in terms of the system, because, you know, he's quite rigid in terms of the runs, the sort of the movements, the patterns of play that he wants. But on the other hand, is Bissouma is an upgrade. Richarlison is an upgrade. The whole point of bringing him in is if anyone's not on form in the starting 11, then you've got ready-made, just as good, if not better, on the bench. Son looks tired. And I agree with Tenno Football. He looks tired. He looks off pace. And let's be real. There are times in previous seasons, even last season, where Son just goes off the boil. Just for a few games, maybe 4 or 5 games, where Son isn't quite at the races and then he does his thing. So this is not new. But the difference this season is where we were looking over our shoulder last season, this season we've got Richie. And I think I agree with Tenno Football. I say next game we start Richie on the left and Bissouma starts. I think I would like to see Bentancur and Bissouma start, but it looks like Conte is preferring that it's a Højbjerg with either one of these two, which is quite interesting for me. I really never saw it like that, but it looks like that's what Conte wants to do. But also, I think that our starting 11, as we saw in the first half, is too bloody predictable. I mean, that's what we were playing for the latter end of last season, and that's what we've kind of started the season with. There's nothing really new there. You know, these teams are doing their analysis, they're breaking down our play. they've worked. There was some time, I'm sure you guys probably felt the same. There were times today where I just thought, bloody hell, we're going to draw this game. We're going to draw, or actually, I was having palpitations from the game against Brighton, because I don't know about you, but the Brighton game started coming back, and I was thinking, no, it's not going to be this way. It's so tight. And then Neves just pulls a worldie out of nowhere in the 94th minute, and we lose 1-0. But there was one thing I know that was kind of glaring for me in today's game, and we looked like we didn't have any ideas, and Wolves looked like they had our number. It looks like the system has been sussed out, and for me, I think Conte's got to do something different. It's great, it's tight, but I just feel like he's really got to change this up, because Wolves were comfortable. Sorry. Wolves seemed comfortable for large periods of the game. So comfortable that I really didn't see how we were going to score, to be honest with you. I won't going to lie. There were moments in that first half I just went out for a walk, to be honest with you, because I thought this is a disaster. That first half was rubbish, to say the least. I can't lie. And I'm saying the same. Drew's nuts is echoing what I'm feeling right now. He's saying one word: relieved. First 45 minutes, we were missing, mate. We were missing in translation, mate. We were that guy missing. They had 12 shots. We had one. Picked it up in the second half, but it wasn't stellar. We were lucky again today. Drews, I'm gonna have to say I fully agree with you. I fully agree. That first half was woeful. And the thing is, you're watching the first half. I know Conte talks about the fact that he wants our home ground to be a fortress. And let's argue, based on the 2 results so far, we've played 2 games at home. We've got 2 wins. Can we do what we did under Pochettino, where we pretty much won, I think, in that season where we got to the Champions League, or we finished second, where we finished third in the league? We managed to win 17 home games and we drew 2. And we made the Tottenham Stadium a fortress. And I know Conte's talking about making the Tottenham Stadium a fortress, but we ain't going to be a fortress playing like that. I agree with my brother Jews there. We went totally missing in that first half. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's a system change. I don't see why we don't start with the quartet. I was saying, and I've been saying in other shows, that you could have Richarlison playing number 9 or Son. And then let's say Richarlison's playing number 9. You can have Sonny on the left. You can have Kuli on the right. And you can have Kane play number 10. Kane is happy to drop off. That creates a whole different conundrum. And for me, Kane, when he plays that number 10, is as good as KDB. He's De Bruyne-esque in that number 10 position. And sometimes, just to change it up, the feng shui, and just to give the opposition team a bit of a headache, it means that you're going to have to go with a Basuma. I don't think in that system you can start Bentancur. I really don't think you can, because of the way Bentancur plays. But that's why you've got Højbjerg. That's why you've got Basuma. Maybe we play in that kind of system and formation, and then you don't even have to have too much of the flying wing backs, but we just keep it tight. Maybe that's what we do, but I definitely think that Conte needs to change it up for the next game. I think we're looking a bit too predictable. And Tenno Football, again, look, me and you, we're on the same page. We watched the same game. 100%. Wolves were too comfortable, especially in the first half. My word, where were we? We were medi at the best. We were mediocre. I totally agree. It was, to be honest with you, there was nothing to write home about. For me, I think definitely there needs to be work to be done, but it was far too comfortable for Wolves. And I think for me, that's the bit that's kind of scary. We were outplayed completely by Chelsea last week. And Wolves really didn't have to come out of first, second gear. Second half was very much more improved. Not great. We managed to get the result. And for me, I'm looking back at some of the comments here, and Drew's is saying we were lucky again. I'm just saying, if Conte doesn't change something within the squad. I think Perisic starts. I think Basuma starts. Richie has to start, or we got to see maybe a long late come in. We're going to run out of luck soon. There's no way we're going to be able to keep this going. Do you know what I mean? And I think Tottenham definitely, we need to go into the transfer window and we need to get a centre-back. And maybe there is a shout that we need to get a number 10. If we don't want to play Kane in that number 10 position, then let's go out and get a 10 so that we can change up the systems. Sessegnon doesn't have to be a flying left back. He can sit tight. I don't think you can have Ben Davies playing left back and a 4 at the back. I definitely don't think so. And for me, where it gets a bit suspect is I don't know if you can even have Dyer if we've got a flat 4 at the back. I think that's maybe where Longley comes in, maybe Longley and Romero, or maybe Longley and Sanchez just to hold the fort. But I would definitely like to see Jed Spence come on next game. What is the point of having a player like Spence? I don't care if he's not fit. What you want is a player that can go do one-on-ones. Emerson Royale is not doing any one-on-ones. And you can see that the players don't have trust in him. Do you know what I mean? They don't have trust in him. So he's already making one part of the pitch non-redundant. You're relying too much on Kulusevski. And if Kulusevski is being marked out like he was today, then we've got no outlet on the right. And that's the other thing. People have watched Kuli. They know what he's about. They know he wants to cut in. And Wolves was having none of it today. They were having none of it. And that's part of the reason why the team struggled in that first half. I'm just looking at some of the comments again. Jules, yeah, I'm with you. You said not picking out Ben, but Longlet can ping a ball from the back. Our long balls at the back were picked off by Wolves. Our long balls out of the back were picked. Yeah, man. Look, Jules, that goes back to what I was saying to you. We were too bloody predictable today. I had the little song. It was boring Spurs. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't mind boring Spurs if it gets us to 3 points, and it got us to 3 points. But I also had the kind of, I don't know, because I've been showing Conte a lot of love, and I'm not criticizing Conte at all. I love Conte. I love what he's doing with our team. I love what he's doing with the squad. But I did have flashes of Mourinho just come to my head with the way that we were playing so deep and so low. There was just something about the kind of confidence from the lads on the pitch that was just kind of worrying me. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like Richarlison definitely, you know, Jules is saying that Richarlison did good for the 15 minutes cameo, but I like to see him come on at 60 minutes or start. Conte, I thought, was slow making changes today. Do you know what, Jules? I would go as far as to say that is a major criticism that I have of Conte. If I'm going to have any, is that Conte takes too long to make decisions that we can see. I felt that he was hesitant in the Chelsea game. From when we equalised, go back to a 3 at the back. You could see that we were exposed like the Red Sea. Do you know what I mean? With Ben Davies. Ben Davies up against Reece James. What a mismatch. And for me today, Richarlison only getting like a 15-minute cameo, that's a bit... No. I mean, he done well in that 15 minutes. I totally agree. But I agree. I want to see Richarlison start. I think if you have 3 poor games, which Son has had so far this season, he doesn't deserve to start. No, they shouldn't feel none. And this goes for Kane. I mean, Kane scored 2 goals, but if they're not playing well, bench him. There's nothing wrong with being put on the bench for a game and a half a game. There's nothing wrong with that. It wakes the players up. But when it's too much of the same old, that's when you get these kind of things happening. That's why these things happen. So for me, I agree. Richarlison deserves a start. He definitely deserves more than 15 minutes, to be honest. I want to see Basuma start. If you want to drop Kane and play in the number 10 and they got to play with the four attackers, I still think the 4 attackers are the best attackers in the league at the moment, then let's do it. But look, it's not all doom and gloom, Spurs faithful. We got it over the line. We've got 7 points from our first 3 games. We've played a big gun in Chelsea, and we've got another game next week. we just keep it coming, keep it ticking over. I'm just looking at just scrolling through for our next game. We are away to Nottingham Forest. Watching Nottingham Forest against West Ham last week, they're not a bad team, especially over at their ground. They're going to be buoyed, they're G'd up, they're going to be going for it. We've got to be ready. But if we can get another 3 points from Nottingham Forest, then I have to say, look, that is a remarkable start to the season. I personally, I'm almost thinking to myself, you can save money. I had a mate of mine who was talking about you save money for a rainy day, but when the rainy day comes, you still don't want to tap into that money. And I was like, what's it going to take for you to spend £1 from the money that you save? And I guess, what's it going to take for Longley to start? What's it going to take for Spence to start? What is it going to take? Conte needs to be brave. If we've got 3 at the back, you can start Jed Spence. Even if he does a first half or you bring him on second half, so be it. I will take that all day long. But we got to start moving the ball. We got to make some changes. Emerson Royale, you can sell him to Valencia, you can sell him to Villarreal, you can sell him to bloody Inter Milan. I don't give a damn. But he's not what we're looking for. In the Premier League, you need a Trent, you need a Reece James type. And I've said it before, I think our version to Reece James and Trent is Spence, and we need to get Spence in the starting lineup. I think we need to get Richarlison. I like to see Perisic, and I like to see Bissouma start. Ideally, me personally, I don't see why we can't have Bissouma and Bentancur. It looks like Conte would prefer Højbjerg to be that kind of battering ram, playing that kind of skippy type role, and then it's either Bissouma or Bentancur. But I think if we're playing with 4, well, it's the wing backs. If we're not playing 3 at the back, then I think that's plausible. You have Bissouma and Højbjerg. But yeah, we need to see something, ladies and gents. We need to see Spurs marching on. I think the fact that we are sitting here relieved is not a good look. And for me, it's like, okay, we've been lucky again. Our luck is going to run out sooner or later. And to be honest with you, we can't be affording for our luck to be running out. It's not good enough for Spurs to be finishing in the top 4 this season. We are going for broke. We are going for that top 3. And if we're going to be getting in the top 3, then we got to be putting these teams away properly. And the fact that we just didn't have enough of the ball today, didn't have enough urgency in that first half, it was worrying. But look, we move on. Our beautiful team, we got 3 points. Enjoy the 3 points. They did what they had to do. We got it over the line. And let's see where we are next week. Conte definitely has to make some changes, or we have to go into the transfer window and we need to just bring in someone. I know it wasn't the plan for Spurs to bring in someone, but maybe we might have to bring in that Zaniolo, maybe a James Maddison, just to get it over, just to kind of give us the ability to switch things up. But what I will do is take the fact that the measure of a good team is not always how good you play, but it's how you perform when you're not at the races. And for me, Tottenham have not been at the races for the last 2 games. We've managed to get 4 points. We've got 7 points. We're currently top of the league, even if it's for a moment. And so for us, I think we need to also look in the positives. The positives is we didn't concede. We've managed to pick up 3 points and we move on. Sooner or later, it's going to click. Sooner or later, Bissouma's going to get settled down. Perisic, I think he's already shown what a class act Perisic is, mate. Put some respect on his name. Sooner or later, Richarlison is going to find his spot within the team, whether he's number 9, whether he's out on the left, whether he's out on the right. We just don't know at this stage. And I like to see Jed Spence, mate. So hashtag Jed Spence. Jed Spence has got to come on against his old club, Nottingham Forest, where we see him do his thing. But Spurs fans, Spurs faithful, we go marching on. We edge past Wolves 1-0. We will take the 3 points and enjoy your weekend. Thanks for joining me and see you next week. Thank you.